want to announce it.
Cole.
No, we don't announce it.
Announce that we don't have.
I anticipate the worst.
Prepare for the best.
I would just like to let everyone know that if they wish to address the board, you can have 3 minutes to do so. There are sign-up sheets on the table over there. Please fill one out and bring it to me if you would. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's Board of Education meeting, Thursday, April 18th, 2024. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Josh Hagan,
Here.
Karen Humphreys,
Here.
Kathy Krupko,
Here.
Mark Ryan,
Here.
and Jonathan Swift.
Here.
Reading of the mission statement, Mr. Mark Ryan.
In collaboration with staff, community, parents, and students, the Marlington Local School District will develop lifelong learners who understand and apply knowledge and demonstrate excellence in pursuing the highest standards with effective intervention to challenge every student.
Thank you. Additions or corrections to the meeting agenda? Are there any additions or corrections?
None that I'm aware.
Adoption of the agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the following agenda for the April 18th meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Ms. Krupko,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Ms. Humphreys,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan,
Yes.
Mr. Swift.
Yes.
Special presentations.
Okay, we always start off the meeting with our students of the month. It's the exciting part of the meeting. So we're going to bring up Mr. Travis tonight. He's filling in for Mr. Farrell to do our high school Elks Students of the Month.
Good evening. I have the privilege of introducing two of our high school students as the Elks Teen of the Month. First, I would like to recognize Abigail Hartzler. Abigail is the daughter of Matthew and Jennifer Hartzler. She is a member of the National Honor Society, Tri-M Music Honor Society, and is a 4-year letter winner and captain of the varsity girls soccer team. Abigail is a member of Duke Street Select Vocal Ensemble and section leader in the Marlington Chorale. She is a member of the Drama Dukes and designed the t-shirt for this year's musical Cinderella. Abigail is an active participant in her youth group through mission trips, picking up trash, collecting food for the food pantry, volunteering at the Hartville Thrift Shop, Love Our Community, and Clothed in Righteousness. In her free time, Abigail enjoys spending time with friends, camping, boating, hiking, art, and shopping. She plans to attend Ohio University in the fall, pursuing a bachelor's degree in social work. Abigail's teachers report that she is an amazing student athlete and role model here at our school. Her work ethic in the classroom and athletics is second to none. In the classroom, she is highly organized and always has her assignments done completely, neatly, and on time. She is not afraid to go above and beyond what is asked of her to further her learning. She is a self-motivated and hard worker. Out of the classroom, she is an exceptional role model for her peers. She is a leader in our school and is admired not only by her students, but by the staff. She is a person of character, integrity, and is extremely deserving of this award. Congratulations, Abigail. Our next Elks Teen of the Month is Drew Simmons. Drew is not able to be here with us tonight because of how uncooperative our Ohio weather has been for spring athletics and a rescheduled EBC baseball game. But I still feel that it is important to recognize Drew. Drew is the son of Jeff and Amy Simmons. He is a member of the varsity football, soccer, and baseball teams, and a former member of the basketball team. In his free time, he enjoys watching all sports, going out to eat with his friends, and lifting. Drew also volunteers with the youth football camps and food pantry. Drew's teachers say that not only is he an accomplished athlete, but he is also an exceptionally hardworking and responsible student. Drew takes a challenging course load full of honors level and college credit plus courses and several engineering courses. Over the years, he has impressed the staff with his maturity and humbleness. He always has a smile on his face, and his positive energy and attitude are contagious to everyone around him. He is not only a leader for his teams in athletics, but also for his peers in the classroom. Drew has a bright future and is very deserving of this recognition. Congratulations, Drew. Next up is middle school principal, Mr. Rizzoletti.
The middle school is excited to recognize our 2 students of the month for the month of April. And first up, Isabella Davis. Bella is the daughter of April Nisley and David Davis. She has an older brother named Travis. Bella likes to read and to be involved with music, both in listening to it and playing the drums. This is what her teachers have to say about her. Bella is a kind person who always has a smile on her face. She works very hard to understand the material and make sure that everything is done on time and to the absolute best of her ability. Bella has an engaging laugh, and she consistently brings a smile to those around her. She's cheerfully motivated to do her best, and she's kind to all. She's always excited to recommend a good book to read. Bella exemplifies a respectful, responsible leader. We're very proud of Bella Davis. Our next student, I believe, is at soccer practice, but we're going to recognize Isaac Brousseau. As said, Isaac enjoys playing soccer in his spare time. He also likes spending time outside. His favorite part of school is hanging out with his friends. This is what Isaac's teachers have to say about him. Isaac puts in 100% effort in everything that he does. He's very kind, helpful, and a polite young man. He's liked by his peers. Teachers can always count on him to lend a hand if needed. Isaac Brousseau is a very hard worker. Speaking of Isaac, oh, we're calling you up right now, Isaac.
Perfect timing.
Like we said, he just got out of soccer practice. Come here. Congratulations. All right, we're starting over from the beginning for you, Isaac. You ready? Okay. Isaac enjoys playing soccer in his spare time. He also likes spending time outside. His favorite part of school is hanging out with his friends. This is what Isaac's teachers have to say about him. Isaac puts in 100% effort in everything that he does. He's very kind, helpful, and a polite young man. He's well liked by his peers. Teachers can always count on Isaac to lend a hand if needed. He's a hard worker who's a pleasure to have in class. Isaac's responsible, willing to ask for help, and very trustworthy. He's respectful to peers and adults. Isaac's worked really hard this year to keep improving in all his classes. Thank you for all you do, Isaac Brousseau. Next up, Mrs. Weber, Lexington Elementary.
Good evening. It appears that Lexington's fifth grade Kiwanis Student of the Month also has practice this evening, but we're going to honor Peyton Eberling as our fifth grade Kiwanis Student of the Month. So, why was Peyton selected by her teachers? Peyton produces quality work each day in class. She pays attention to detail and often participates in discussions. Peyton is also a big help in the classroom. Whether she helps adults or another student, she always gives 110%. Her kindness shines through everything she does. A couple more things about Peyton. Her favorite subject is math. Peyton listed her whole family here, which I think there may be 30 names. However, I'm going to read her, I told her I would read off her dogs and her cats. So her dog, 5 dogs, Tank, Chase, Rhea, Rolly, and Rosie, and her 4 cats named Nugget, Whiskers, Boots, and Linda. So, something she hopes to do in the future. She would love to visit Myrtle Beach again, and she also wants to go back to Outer Banks. And then finally, one more thing about herself. She loves to play soccer, and a hobby of hers is art, and sometimes in her free time, she puts in her earbuds, closes her eyes, and loves to listen to music. Congratulations to Peyton Eberling. Next up, Mrs. Mort, Barbara Elementary.
Good evening, everyone. It appears that everyone is at soccer practice this evening. So we will introduce our April Kiwanis Student of the Month for Marlboro next month when we do our May student. So at this time, next up, Mr. Spondil, Washington Elementary.
Well, lucky for us, Claire is here tonight. So, we are excited to present Claire McAllister as our Kiwanis Student of the Month. Claire is the daughter of Shelley and Michael McAllister. Why she was selected as Student of the Month? There are a lot of reasons. She is kind, compassionate, and a very thoughtful friend. Her work ethic is incredible, and the way that she continually gives her best effort for everything she does is very impressive. Claire is a natural, quiet leader in the classroom and helps create a welcoming environment for everyone in the room. Claire excels in the classroom every day and is always willing to help her peers who may not be able to understand concepts as easily. She is creative and always eager to learn new things and explore the world around her. One of her teacher's favorite moments with Claire this year was inviting her to be our art teacher and watching her teach other students how to design and create paper snowflakes. Claire has a joy about her that leaves every space she is in better than when she found it. Claire's favorite subject at school is math and science. She told us about her family. Her siblings are twins, and she thinks that's pretty cool. She really likes to travel and explore new places, especially going to Hocking Hills, Alaska, and the beach. When she is out of school and an adult, Claire wants to be a teacher. And we said, tell us one thing that's pretty neat about yourself that people might not know. She likes to go swimming, and she competed on the swim team this year. Congratulations, Claire.
Okay, at this time, this ends our Students of the Month portion of the program. So at this time, if you don't plan on staying for the formal part of the meeting, this would be the time that you would depart.
Good, okay. Invocation, Pastor John Truex.
Thank you. I'll keep this brief. I've got to get to soccer practice. Let's pray. Lord, in a time when there is so much division, we are thankful, Lord, that tonight we are united in this room by a love and a concern for the Marlington School District. Lord, we are so appreciative of your presence and your guiding grace. Lord, we ask that tonight you would be with the school board and all of the administration and staff and teachers and students and community members represented here. Lord, that you would allow them to exercise wisdom and discretion in their decision making, and that you would, Lord, bless the district and help us accomplish the mission that has been given. And Father, that you would watch over the students and each building, Father, for their safety and their protection, and that they might excel in their academic pursuits. We thank you, Father, again, for the ability to work together for the good of our community. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you.
Okay, good evening. Our first, we have, as I talked about last board meeting, I told the board we'd give an update based on solar in one of our 3 townships. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up Mr. Chris Simmons and Miss Aubrey Ward. They're from Samsung, and they're going to give the board an update.
Hello. Can everyone hear me if I stand back here? Okay? Okay, good deal. My name's Chris Simmons. I am the development manager for Samsung C&T America. I cover all of the PJM regulated states in the United States for solar development. That's about a 13-state region, but we're probably active in 4 or 5 just based on terrain and suitability for large-scale solar projects. So here in Stark County, we have a proposed 150 megawatt project located in Washington Township that covers about 860 acres of land and will generate enough power to power about over 27,000 homes. We submitted our project application at the end of February to the Ohio Power and Siting Board, and for those that may not know, projects over 50 megawatts that generate power are regulated by the state called the Ohio Power and Siting Board. So our application submitted at the end of February. We are expecting at least a year-long review process with the board. In between that time, we'd like to continue engaging the community, all local stakeholders, including Marlington Local School District, and explain the project's benefits. The primary driver that we like to explain about these projects is that they generate a lot of tax revenue without increasing the need for new infrastructure, no need for new hospital beds, new power, new, not power, but new utilities, things like that. This project is expected to generate over $57 million in tax revenue over the 40-year life of the project, and over $34 million of that would be allocated to Marlington Local School District. Again, we hope to have the school district support as we move forward with our project and go before the state of Ohio. And if you guys have any particular questions for me regarding solar or how all this works, I'd be happy to answer.
My question is, you bring up $34 million tax revenue to Marlington. Isn't there multiple options there? I mean, from a pilot program that would be maybe if the solar farm would be passed by the Power Site Committee, that the pilot option would be probably more beneficial to the school district, the townships, including Stark County itself?
Yeah, so pretty much what he's referring to is the pilot program. It's called Payment in Lieu of Taxes for clean energy generators to pay a fixed amount per megawatt per year. It's a lot cleaner to account for, but there's different variances to each, like normal depreciation schedule or the pilot program. So what we've ultimately communicated to the county is we'll leave it up to the county. We're not going to ask for either or. We want the county to evaluate what's going to be best for the local communities and the county itself, and we are fine with either option.
Understand that with a 34 million, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just asking, that would be the 150 megawatt solar farm would be running at full capacity?
It's charged per megawatt per year. And the depreciation schedule is taxed on the equipment of the, that's installed in the facility.
And just my last clarification piece on based on the pilot versus the non-pilot program. If the solar farm would happen to, the Power Siting Committee would approve it and you guys would move forward with it. If we did not, if the county commissioners did not approve for the pilot program, then obviously it would be we would also have, our foundation money at the state would count against us because it would count as basically very similar to Nexus or a large home in our thing. It just makes us look wealthier. So we would get, less money from the state. Now the pilot program actually eliminates that. So we would not be counted, our foundation money would not be touched. The state would not look at us as gaining any income at all, correct?
Correct. The pilot program does not affect the state funding formula.
How long is the depreciation?
Over 40 years.
Over
40 years.
40?
Is that 34 million based on the pilot program or based on a different schedule?
I believe this is normal depreciation schedule.
Okay, so what difference will we be looking at with the pilot program, do you know?
I would have to get the numbers. I know we ran both scenarios, but I don't have them with me today. Since we don't have approval for the pilot program, we're not just effectively presenting what those numbers are. Sorry.
Anybody else have any more questions?
Has the approval for the pilot program been applied for?
No, as we go through the state approval process, it'll just be something we have to work with the county commissioners. We have not had a formal request for the pilot program with Stark County yet.
Okay, so that could come before or after approval?
Yes.
Who will buy the electricity from this project?
We haven't secured like a long-term power purchase agreement yet. We are in different talks with different bulk electricity buyers for clean power, but no one end user's been selected.
Okay,
The way we usually secure like anywhere from 10 to 20-year power purchase agreements at a time, and we'll stack them.
Okay. How's the like the Samsung? Is Samsung the owner, or is this another group the owner? Who owns the project?
Currently, we own the project.
Samsung owns it. Okay.
Yes.
So leasing land, but Samsung owns the project. So Samsung will be the seller of the electricity.
Yes.
Okay.
You said currently Samsung owns the project, so is there a plan to sell it? And what about maintenance of the equipment, and how does all that affect the land, the area around us?
There will be a long-term maintenance contract established before the project ever breaks ground with a local maintenance outfit. There will be 4 to 7 full-time employees running the site. There will be a site manager. So we do currently own the asset. We do both. We own and operate major solar facilities, or we'll divest them. Sometimes major utility companies will take control after the project's built and up and running. But in terms of aesthetic goes, we have a vegetative screening plan to actually plant shrubs, trees around the project area that are a certain thickness to where you can't like see through that vegetative screening into the solar facility itself.
Hey, Chris, one more question. I'm sorry. Ms. Krupko brought up. So obviously, being here as long as I've been here, our taxpayers really, value their land, and you're talking about aesthetics and so forth, a long-term maintenance plan. Do you have any examples or locations that would be specific to Samsung itself, where you have put at least a minimum of using 860 acres as your example, is what you said, as a minimum that you've done somewhere in the United States that would be comparable to what we're doing here, and that you've done in the past?
Me personally, I've not done in the past, but the company itself has a handful of projects in California that are up and running. If we can provide you any more detail on that.
No, that's fine. Can I get that from you, or do I need to reach out to Jen? I just wasn't sure.
Yeah, no.
Oh, Aubrey, you have it? Okay.
So I was under the impression there was like an LLC or somebody that was involved with the project. How's that relate to Samsung if Samsung owns the project?
We are the whole, we own Stark Solar LLC.
Okay.
Yeah, we are the owner of Stark Solar LLC.
Okay, got it. Okay. At the end of the project, what's the life expectancy? Like 40 years, you say, or?
Yeah, so usually we have lease agreements with our participating landowners that will terminate at the end of 40 years. The state of Ohio requires a decommissioning bond be set up and put in place before the project were ever to be approved or constructed. That bond will cover the full cost of decommissioning the facility, and it is reevaluated every 5 years to keep up with inflation.
Okay, and what does that provide for? Like a reclamation of the land?
Yes, it'll be the full cost to remove all the equipment and restore the land to its original condition.
Okay.
So after the decommissioning and the land's reclaimed, are there any limitations on the use of the land?
Nope, it can go right back into farming, and it usually gives, that 40 years gives that cultivated ground a chance to recover and bounce back with a lot of the nutrient levels that may not be there at this time. So it gives the land a breather, so to speak, and at the end of the project, it'll be in very good shape for agricultural use again.
I'm a little skeptical.
Yes.
It sounds too good to be true. So tell me the downsides to this.
With solar, I think the downside of these projects is that they do take up a lot of land. I think that's the hardest thing we have to overcome, and especially when you're responding to different market demands. Like, for instance, we're in PJM right now, right? So we're trying to develop sites in their grid, everything they touch. And then when you look at the states that they serve, Ohio is the best landing spot. So you have a lot of solar developers are all targeting the same area, trying to respond to the same demand. And in Ohio, just like driving through the country around here, you don't really have just wide open spaces. So the difficulty with these sites is piecing together a large enough site to make a feasible project. So back to your question, I would say the downside that we see is the size these projects end up being. It's usually going to have, people living around it, neighboring landowners, adjacent landowners that, we always need to try to go the extra mile to make sure that they're not impacted.
And what happens to the equipment after it's decommissioned?
The panels themselves can be recycled. We use monocrystalline panels that it's largely silicone, aluminum, all highly recyclable. There's a lot of ongoing efforts right now in the United States to accommodate the solar recycling process that's going to be coming in waves as we get further down the road with decommissioning these projects. But it is all recyclable material, and the panels themselves will still be operating about 80% efficient
After 40 years?
At the end of 40 years.
What makes Ohio ideal?
It's the terrain. We have a lot of open land, not covered in trees. We don't want to do large-scale tree removal anywhere. It's relatively flat, good solar irradiation. We look for a certain, they call it a net capacity factor, anywhere we develop a solar project that's going to give us enough megawatt hours produced a year to be a feasible project. So Ohio, when you look at the PJM footprint, it was very attractive to all solar developers.
Is there any danger to the project? Is there any danger to residents that live nearby? I'm pretty green on this, so educate me a little bit on radiation, anything like that the neighborhood needs to be concerned about.
We have no concerns about radiation, EMF, anything like that. We consider these projects very safe for anywhere they're located.
Is there any long-term studies on it?
On EMF?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we have to do a lot of extensive studies on the equipment that's actually installed here.
Okay.
Whether, the substation transformers themselves, the inverters, all that, they have to be UL certified. They have to meet EPA clearance requirements. So on the equipment itself, it's really nothing new. So there are a lot of studies available talking about those kind of considerations like EMF or radiation. So.
Does the $7,000, is that per megawatt?
Mm-hmm.
That's the pilot payment?
Yes, sir.
Right? That doesn't change over time?
Nope, it's a fixed payment for the full 40 years of the project.
Okay, so no inflation with that, just fixed, okay.
So part of that bond that you guys have, my final question would be, so that bond will cover anything that happens in that 40 years that could be detrimental to those panels?
It is a decommissioning bond. So the project itself is insured, so anything, if the panels were damaged, they would be replaced by, new equipment.
Is there any, I've read some articles that there is an increase of tornadoes and weather-related incidences in areas where there are solar farms. Do you have anything to tell me that's not true?
I am not a meteorologist, but I have not ran into anything that suggests that they're changing the weather.
You got nothing else?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I assume if we have additional questions that we come up with, or if the community asks us things, you are able to.
Yeah, I can email Jen. I actually have Chris's email.
Okay.
And I now have Aubrey's email also, so
Okay.
I'm able to reach out that way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to the curriculum update. Mrs. Kaylee.
Good evening. Move this down a little short. All right, so we have one topic on the agenda this evening. We are going to talk about our K-5 ELA curriculum adoption. Super excited about the work that's been going on really over the past 2 to 3 years to get us to the point where we are at this evening and being able to recommend a K-5 core comprehensive curriculum to the board. Over the past couple of years, we've worked really hard to build our teacher capacity. We've had ongoing professional development in various areas, and I know I've presented on these different topics over the past couple of years, but specifically we've had professional development and interactive read aloud, we've had vocabulary launch PD, depth of knowledge and higher level questioning to ensure that our teachers understand how to meet that rigor and push our students to think deeper and more critically about the text. We've also had phonemic and phonological awareness training through Haggerty and Foundations. A lot of that was led by our instructional coach, as well as within in-house with PD from our teacher leaders within each building. Also, over the past 2 years, we've also participated in the state-mandated dyslexia training. If you remember, we had our K-1 teachers trained last year. This year, we've been having our 2nd and 3rd grade teachers trained, and then next year will be our 4th through 12th grade intervention specialists. Throughout the past several years since coming on board here in this capacity at Marlington, we've also had ongoing and embedded coaching cycles, so that's the importance of having that instructional coach at the elementary level. It allows us to continue that professional development. They're not just one and done things, they're things that are embedded and ongoing so that we can support our teachers as we move forward. We also have monthly TBT, which are teacher-based team meetings where we're able to talk about data and instructional strategies. And as you know, last year we received the Reaching All Students grant in the amount of $200,000. And that team has really spent the past year and a half at analyzing data, at looking at the needs of the district in regards to a K-5 lens with literacy. And from that, we've created a K-5 ELA curriculum implementation team. And they're going to be coming up here and speaking in just a moment. That's part of that shared leadership model that I talk about. You know, I can get up here and talk, but I'm not the one that's in the trenches teaching day to day, nor are our building principals. So it's incredibly important that the teachers have the opportunity to explore these curriculum resources and to make the decisions, obviously with the support of the leadership in the building and from the district. So our literacy grant team, that Reaching All Students grant team, if you were part of the Reaching All Students grant team, will you stand up for a second just so that the board can see? Mrs. Weber was a part of that as well. And Mrs. Leiden, you should be standing up too, ma'am. But we had 7, thank you so much. These ladies have done an incredible job over the past year and a half at sitting through state mandated trainings every month and meeting after school hours to ensure that we really are finding the root cause as to why things are or are not working. And one of the things that we were able to create was a Marlington structured literacy framework that really dictated what we want to see in our classrooms, K-5, across the district in regards to literacy. So we had certain things that were core instruction, intervention and enrichment, and then the assessments that we would be utilizing throughout our K-5 classrooms. We also were able to develop our elementary literacy schedule non-negotiables. We felt like this was incredibly important because it allowed to have equitable instruction across all buildings, all grade levels. When you hold that time sacred and ensure that we are providing that time to teach our kids to read, that we are going to see the outcomes and dividends on the other end. So that was something that the grant team, after analyzing all the data, we were able to put that into place this year with the support of all of the building principals and ensuring that their master schedules, building schedules reflected that, as well as the teacher classroom schedules. So at this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of take a little step back, and I'm going to introduce our, Mrs. Herman's going to come up and introduce our actual K-5 ELA curriculum implementation team, and all of our folks are here tonight. And then if I could have the other presenters come on up at this time too, so that we can just transition between the slides quickly. And super excited to have them here, but I will tell you they're not used to getting up and presenting like I am, so I told them take a deep breath, and I'm excited to have them here and have their support. So I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Herman, and then we're just going to progress through the presentation. If at any time, just as always, if you have questions, feel free to ask. I'll probably be the one hopping back up to answer them, though, okay? I told them I would take that pressure off of them. So, Mrs. Herman, if you don't mind. And then you could just, yep.
All right. Well, our K-5 ELA curriculum implementation team consists of the original grant team members and representation from every grade level and every building. So when I call your name, if you're here, could you please stand? Ashley Weber, Kitty Mort, Yanni Spondil, Renee Cayley, Alicia Hunter, Carrie Smith, Denise Wood, Becky Myers, Cindy Bowser, Jen Lauder, Katie Kellums, Abby Fraze, Grace Flores, Wendy Leiden, and myself, Kim Herman. Thank you guys. You did a great job. Yeah. So as members of the team, we would become advocates for the curriculum that would be chosen. That means we would become knowledgeable of that new curriculum, and we would need to communicate and support all decisions that we made in order to effectively implement it. So these were some of the responsibilities we knew we would take on as we became members of this team. So why invest in a comprehensive core ELA curriculum, you ask? Well, the grant team that spent the time with professional development and data analysis was led to recognize the need for alignment in our literacy instruction in K-5. In that same time frame, our staff was having the training in the science of reading and dyslexia, and that led them to recognize gaps in our Tier 1 instruction and the need for support in those areas. Then in March of 2024, the ODEW released its final list of approved curriculums that follow the science of reading research and would fulfill Governor DeWine's statewide initiative to improve literary skills across the state of Ohio.
So I'm just going to talk a little bit about our process and the timeline that we had to get all of this accomplished. So in 2022-23 school year, we continued having professional development and using our student data to determine the strengths and weaknesses in our current curriculum resources. In the fall of 2023, we focused on the alignment of building and teacher schedules to our literacy framework and non-negotiables that Mrs. Cayley showed a moment ago. And then in the spring of 2024, the team met to begin an adoption process, and we utilized a rubric. It's here I'll just click on it for just a second. It's very extensive. I mean, we had set up in, divided into groups, and each group focused on a section of the rubric. Very comprehensive core curriculum. So you can see here we did alignment of the science of reading, we looked at phonics, spelling, language comprehension, things like that. Feel free to then go into that rubric and look at all the things that we kind of accomplished together. We narrowed it down to 2 top choices. Both Wonders was a top choice, as well as Benchmark Advance. These companies presented their curriculum after school to any teacher that wanted to attend. We had over 20 people coming after school to listen to these companies speak. We gathered feedback from the staff in our buildings, and Benchmark Advance was able to provide more training to the team, covering their resources and lesson planning structure, which was amazing. We had a lot of good information being presented to us. It was a unanimous decision by the team to move forward with Benchmark Advance.
Good evening. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about why we chose Benchmark Advance and why it stood out compared to some of the other curriculums that we looked at. As I mentioned, it is a core comprehensive curriculum, meaning that all aspects of our instruction are included. Phonemic awareness, phonics, fluency, comprehension, and writing are all tied together, and Benchmark also includes intervention and enrichment in with it, which was a really big standout to us. The setup of Benchmark is user-friendly, easy to navigate, both the instruction manual and the online component. We're able to push things out to the kids on their iPads and use the manual both, and it was friendly and easy for teachers and students to use. Benchmark actually puts books in the students' hands, which we liked, with content that is of interest to them. One thing that stood out to me personally is that it's vertically aligned to the science and social studies standards, K-5. So when kindergarten's learning about life science, so are first, second, third, fourth, and fifth grade, which in my eyes, I saw as a great opportunity to do like collaborative projects. You know, fourth graders can come down to second graders, and we have common knowledge to talk about different things and just work together with the different grade levels.
So not only was it the best, we feel that it's the best fit for Marlington, it also has been nationally recognized. It is all green rating on Ed Reports. If you're not familiar with Ed Reports, it's a nationally recognized clearinghouse for excellence in curriculum evaluation. So I'm going to go over those in a little more detail here in the next slide, but it was all green on Ed Reports. It also received the Tech and Learning Award in 2022, so the technology components, and we know we're a technology district, so they align nicely with our core values in regards to technology, and it also received the Excellence in Equity Award. We love the fact that it is putting authentic text in kids' hands. It's not just a basal where you have a big, thick book of stories. Students are actually getting to pick up books and read, and there are a lot of different titles for the interactive read-alouds for our teachers, K to 5 as well. If you look here, this is just a closer look at the Ed Reports. You can see what they look at is they look at text quality as well as are they building knowledge, right? So it's not just we're reading random stories. We want to be building the knowledge base and the background knowledge of our students, particularly for our students, for all students, but particularly for those students who may not have the opportunities to experience some of the life experiences that would help them to build that background knowledge. We also then, you see that usability piece. That is huge for our teachers. One of the things we said is we want for any teacher, whether you are a novice teacher or a veteran teacher, to be able to utilize the curriculum that we move forward with. And so we felt that Benchmark absolutely did that. And you can see the 3 to 5 as well. They were all green in all 3 of those areas.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
You mentioned that it's user-friendly.
Yes.
For grandmothers and moms at home who aren't educators but end up doing homework with kids.
Sure. So what's nice about it, there is also a digital platform for parents as well, that you would have, students would have access code to log in. There are also take-home decodables. So in K to 2, K1, every kiddo could have a take-home decodable. Those are those little black and white books that the kids can bring home and practice their skills. And in second grade, it would be those specific students who still needed to work on decoding. So those resources would be coming home. There are parent letters that would be sent home that explain the curriculum and what's going on that month and the program overall. And then there's the online component to support. So yes, we felt like, to be completely transparent, some of the programs were clunky. Hard to navigate, not really sure where to go from here to there. We felt this was very streamlined and concise, not only for parents, but for teachers as well.
Okay, thank you.
Good question, yes.
Hey, Renee, can you back up a slide?
I sure can.
I got a question.
This one, or one more?
One more.
Yes.
On the Excellence and Equity
Yes.
Award, where it has the best diversity and inclusion solution, is there any emphasis on using inclusive language in this curriculum?
No, sir. So I will tell you, I'm trying to think of how to say this. There were some curriculum resources that we analyzed that we felt didn't meet the core values of our community. And so those were, even though they are excellent programs, we felt that they were not the best fit for Marlington. So we went through with a very fine eye when it came to that, and we feel very confident in the choice with Benchmark.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see here. The other part, just why Benchmark for Marlington, I think Denise might have alluded to that there's a purposeful scope and sequence. It builds from K all the way, it actually goes up to 6th grade, but we're doing K to 5. There's explicit teacher modeling, which is incredibly important, you guys, because here's the thing. It's like the I do, we do, you do model, so the teachers are demonstrating how to do it so that the students see it being done correctly. And then the students have an opportunity to work together. And then there is also time for independent learning. So we felt that that was incredibly important. There's also decoding and encoding, so students being able to decode words. You have to be able to decode words to be able to make meaning of words. There's guided practice, and there's a spiral review. So it's not like we're hitting a topic and we're never talking about it again. It spirals through the curriculum, which is incredibly important for our kiddos to be able to build upon their knowledge. And then there's those embedded multimodal and multisensory learning. We have learning tiles. There's an e-pocket chart. Lots of resources electronically. We can take those things then and listen to them in a center work. So all the modalities are being met for students that learn different in various capacities.
Okay, our keys to successful implementation. So Renee talked about the shared leadership. It is a teacher-led decision. We did have full support of our principals and Mrs. Haley in this, but we are in the classroom and we are using it. So the ongoing professional development, we will have 10 days of professional development from Benchmark. It will be broken up into different sessions. And then our 3 building leaders, Denise is one, Leisha is one at Marlboro, and I am at Lexington. So we're going to be digging really deep into the curriculum and learning it, like I told Renee, frontwards, backwards, sideways. I want to know it. And then, of course, our implementation team will be there to support the rest of our staff in anything they will need. In our TBT times, I was really excited that, because it's so vertically aligned, we're going to be able to not only talk with our grade level partners, but our partners above us and below us within the grade levels, and to look at the data and see what the data is telling us and where to go next. And then, as we said, this is a core comprehensive program. All of the pieces are there for teachers to use. And that what I like about this is I don't have to go looking for things to, build my curriculum. And I know that it's there and that it's going to meet grade level standards that we have to teach. And there's a very nice progression of skills from grade to grade because it is so vertically aligned. So, and then we have some pictures of us hard at work there. The 3 bigger ones, you can see us working with the different curriculums using that rubric that Jen showed you. And we were broken up into partners, and partnerships focused on one area for every single curriculum. So we really got to know that area for every single curriculum, and then we came back together. We had meetings. Well, what did you find? What did you see? What was strong? What was not strong? And then at the bottom picture, that is when our the reps from Benchmark and Wonders, that was the night we invited all of our K-5 ELA teachers to come over and to listen to that presentation and get an idea of what we had, the two we had narrowed it down to. So, and then we just want to say thank you. We appreciate your support in helping us best meet the needs of all Marlington elementary students. We would like to formally recommend the adoption of Benchmark Advanced as Marlington's ELA K-5 core curriculum. Thank you.
Is there any opportunity to test drive it with students at all, any of the materials?
We did some, but I'll be honest with you, because of the work we've done leading
yeah.
up, we knew this was the right fit.
Okay.
We had an opportunity, we had a longer timeline, to be completely honest with you. We didn't need it.
Okay.
We didn't need it because when we were doing our research, the learning that we've done over the past 2 years, this is what fits with what we've been learning. It fits with our core beliefs. It fits with continuing to move our district forward in regards to that alignment piece. Okay. So the team actually decided, we don't need to pilot it. So there's a lot of data also that I could share that shows those districts that are utilizing it and those that aren't, and the scores, the test scores, the increase in test scores. We looked at that type of data as well. I will tell you, Benchmark is one of the top in multiple districts around us right now. So I'm very pleased to hear that as well. The other thing is, I always say just to be transparent, but we are using the rest of the literacy grant towards this. We are using the rest of the ESSER funding that was allocated towards instruction, and as well as the governor released monies from the state to be able to use towards this because it was a mandate from the governor as well. The only out-of-pocket, is this okay that I say this, Mr. Swisher? I'm like, wait a minute, I better back up a second because I didn't even.
I was just waiting for the final number.
It's $3,000.
But
$3,000.
what was the original cost?
The original cost was $270,000. I'm a really good salesperson. I don't know if used cars should be my next business, but we negotiated $242,000. It'll be over the next 5 years. All consumables replenished every year, and 10 professional development days to use throughout that 5-year contract, with full digital access during that time as well. With all that being said, with all the other pieces to pay, the only thing coming out of general fund will be about $3,000.
Wow.
So.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Excellent, yes, agreed, agreed. Incredible.
I couldn't say more about the team and about the principals for their support, and just, we felt really good about moving forward. I will tell you, there's other districts scrambling right now. We're not one of them because we've done the work leading up to it. So, and that says a lot for our teachers and the buildings and our principals for being willing to kind of take that leap and do the work. You guys have any other questions for us?
I just have a comment. In meeting with Mrs. Cayley as the liaison for the curriculum, I was very impressed with, I heard these words tonight again, the vertically aligned between grades. This is a foundational building of curriculum here at Marlington that we need. It really supports equitable education all across Marlington rather than the bits and pieces that they maybe used to be present. And obviously, the detail and the time that it took everyone. Thank you so much, because it's a task that is probably big and seemed insurmountable, but you worked together and did it. So we really appreciate that.
And this is definitely this was the missing piece. Our teachers are working incredibly hard day in and day out. They were using the foundations in the Hagerty, but we still saw gaps. And this is the opportunity to have this opportunity to close those gaps for all kids. We're really excited.
Yes. Very good.
I know prior, when we had the curriculum committee, we would have a meeting to review the curriculum. Have you reviewed any of the curriculum?
I did not personally see it, but it is going to be available.
Yes,
in-
so after tonight, it will be available in the board office if anybody would like to, or not the board office, the central office,
yeah.
right? We'll have the resources available if anybody wants to come look at them.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Hagan, I'm sending them to your house. I'm just kidding.
Appreciate
When the
that.
truck arrives, be ready. Yeah, when the
Just
truck
kidding.
arrives.
But no, we will have those available for the community to look at if they're
Okay.
interested. Mhm.
Yes.
Good
Thank you.
questions.
I just wanted to say, this was something that, I can't believe it's been 2 years ago since we first talked. At that first board meeting, we said there needs to be an ELA curriculum. And the team and the staff have done an amazing job over the last 2 years, putting in the work and finding a curriculum that's going to work for the whole community, and we really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
I don't know. You can leave it there. Okay.
Thanks so much.
Next item up would be Mrs. Krupko, if there's any information from OSBA.
Well, unfortunately, I get to announce that National Teacher Appreciation Week is May 6th through the 10th, and you've certainly given us a lot to appreciate in our staff, and thank you very much. Online, the OSBA has a lot of ideas and things to share with us, how to celebrate and share with the NEA, hashtag Thank a Teacher. They want us to show appreciation on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And there's a graphic to download, say thank you with Instagram stories. They have all kinds of programs, and they want to know about the wonderful educators that we have in our district. I am sitting on the OSBA Legislative Platform Committee this year, and they have online their legislative platform if anybody chooses to look at all 44 pages of it. And if you have any things that you would like to recommend, we need to make a motion as a board and follow through with that. My first meeting is in August, and the deadline for any resolutions is May 31st. So,
Can you email us all a link to that?
no, you have it.
Oh, we have it already?
If you're getting OSBA emails, you have it.
You guys should all get it. They should
update?
come. If they don't, let us know. They have all
Governor,
your emails.
yeah,
Sorry.
that's okay. It's all in your OSBA updates and emails. Governor Wine gave his State of the State address in the last, I think it was 2 weeks. It heavily focused on children and their futures. He spoke about the creation of new programs, such as a principal apprentice program to help craft Ohio's future education leaders, and the creation of more school-based health centers. The governor has also called on the legislature to add career planning to the state's high school graduation requirements and to expand funding for career tech to ensure that every student who wishes to participate has the opportunity. He is also asking the legislature to require districts to adopt cell phone usage policies to tackle the issue of cell phone disruptions in the classrooms, and he has highlighted the continued implementation of the science of reading and the impact it is having on Ohio's children. The U.S. Department of Energy has opened applications for its 2024 Renew America's School Prize, which awards funding to school districts seeking to make energy efficiency improvements and other upgrades to their buildings. So
I got that email.
you already got it? All right. On April 30th, we have the application deadline for the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency's Encouraging Environmental Excellence in Education program.
Say that again.
I know, the title of it is
We got
ridiculous.
lost.
It recognizes K through 12 schools for achievements in environmental stewardship and efforts to educate students on environmental topics. And May 15th is the deadline to apply for the Grow Ohio Grant Program. This grant increases the capacity of participating child nutrition providers to procure and use locally sourced foods in program meals and provide agricultural education opportunities for participating students. So I didn't know if that might be beneficial to our VOAG program.
Could be. I've not looked at that grant yet.
Okay.
The EP, year-long verbiage grant there at the end.
Yeah, that one.
We did not apply for that.
Okay. All right, that's the new stuff. The legislature has been on vacation again. So they have just gotten back into session, and there are a lot of committees making proposals, but nothing has gone through both the House and the Senate, and there's so much discussion and changing that goes on in the interim. So that's all I have.
Perfect. Questions? Okay. We'll move on to my report for this month. It's not a long one. I knew we had, with the curriculum update and our typical board meeting, so I just shortened it a little bit. I'm sure somebody said, "Oh, good," I think is what I heard.
That would be Jonathan.
As normal, I'm going to stick with what I've stuck with for almost now 2 years here. With every minute, every moment, every memory, we're going to talk about a few reasons to celebrate, kind of where we're at right now, kind of what I'm going to talk about here moving forward in this next month or so within the district. So we're going to talk about a few teachers coming up here. So obviously our Marlington Local School District Teacher of the Year this year is going to be Erica Oler. Erica Oler is a speech and language pathologist at Lexington Elementary. So on April 30th, there is like an award ceremony over at the Kent State Stark Conference Center. They do this yearly through the Stark ESC. So nobody really knows who actually the Teacher of the Year is until that evening. As you know, a few years ago, I think it would have been 2 years ago to date, Janelle Hart was actually the Stark County Teacher of the Year. Erica Oler will be up for that, so we're very excited to have her on board. And then our Rookie of the Year, so this would be Amber Burrell. She's also a speech and language pathologist, so she services Marlboro and Washington. So Erica serves all of Lexington, Amber's Marlboro and Washington. So typically Rookie of the Year is within your first 3 years as an educator, not 3 years at Marlington, but your first 3 years as coming in. So she will also be honored that evening. So we're very excited to have that. So we'll have our administrative team over there for that dinner, and myself, and obviously Amber and Erica will be there with their significant others. So it'll be a nice evening. Another addition that's just, I can't say enough about, we just found out the other day, is our school counselor, Rael Norman. So Rael's involved in a lot of different things, and I'll talk a little bit more about it probably in May, but she just found out. So Stark County the Stark County School Counselors Association has a Counselor of the Year. Rael will be honored over at Walsh here coming up as the Stark County Counselor of the Year. So we have a lot, so that's a really big deal. So it is. So. And so I'm not going to, we'll get a little bit more in May because I don't quite have her bio, but not only has she just been, a school counselor here with us for many years, and what she does at Lexington, there's a lot of outside things that she does that leads the county itself. And I don't want to misspeak and say it wrong, so that's where I'm at, because we just kind of got this news probably within the last, at least in our neck of the woods, probably in the last 24 to 48 hours. So. More reasons to celebrate. Aubrey Horning and Sylvia McElroy, so two of our staff, they wanted to write a grant to support the high school when it came to STEAM or STEM. So they went ahead, and it's called Developing Students 21st Century Workforce Skills Grant. They were awarded just the other day a $15,000 grant that's utilized to purchase materials and resources for high school teachers, sustain problem-solving environments into their students. So they're going to get what they would consider out of that a Glowforge Pro laser cutter. They're going to have a MakerBot and a large classroom set for 3D design and printing. And then some Roland Versus Studio desktop printer. Again, a lot of that is Greek to me. To the students, it is not. And these things are very expensive. So without their hard work between Aubrey and Sylvia taking time to write these grants, we wouldn't be able to get a lot of the items we have. And Aubrey herself has probably written multiple grants in the last 10 years that have gotten the majority of the things she's had either between the middle school or the elementaries. So it's pretty amazing. So that's just another grant added in. So we want to thank both of them. Where we're at right now, we're in testing season right now. If you're unaware, so Completed testing thus far is we've had high school, middle school, and elementary ELAs completed outside of makeups. Okay, so alternative assessments are on their way, if not being close to be completed. But we're still not done. So upcoming, this is basically a month and a half long testing cycle for those of you that have kids in testing grades. So we still have high school, middle school math, elementary math, and then obviously we have science and social studies in multiple grades. We also have second grade COGAT, whole grade testing that has to be done, and we have to complete through the alternative assessment. So we have a lot going on. So, it's just, I know the principals and teachers do a really good job all year long of just trying to get to this point. And then, we hope that, in this snapshot of one day or 2 days, because there's part 1 and part 2 of every test, that these kids actually, come in ready to learn, come in ready to test. So it's a lot of pressure on the staff, and it's a lot of pressure on these kids to do well. Talking about the Career Expo, so I kind of made a point last year. I wanted to have an opportunity for our middle school and our high school kids to not have a job fair, but to be able to see what happens in Stark County when it comes to exploring options for them, regardless if it's college or not. So last year we had about 40 different companies from Stark County come in. They spent the day here. We had our students go through, and they were just able to see the various companies, ask questions if they choose. So again, obviously our second annual Career Expo. That's coming up on May 7th.
Is that open to the public, Dan, or is that just for students?
Last year we did the public in the evening, and we did not have a large turnout, so we stuck it to just students this year. Okay. Obviously, if any board members like to come during that day, it's between about 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. here at the high school. And some of the things that the feedback that we got last year from the businesses that came to this was, they did hire some of our kids, which was good. So they actually had gainful employment out of that. On top of that, some of the kids came prepared with questions, and I don't know if that was teacher driven or student driven. So at this point in time around, we're kind of driving a little bit more so the students have some specific questions geared towards, they were just general questions, but geared to things that they may see in life. And it gives them an opportunity to start thinking about things outside of maybe what they're only familiar with in their home, or maybe what they're only familiar with just in this little small bubble that they're in, and they don't know that there's a much larger area or abroad to look at. So that's coming up here on May 7th. All right. Last year at this time, I thought it was funny. I had a wind damage report, all right, and had a lot of pictures from the windstorm. This rain, we just get rain, all right? So when I say we still have to, as we're working through the phases of the high school roof, this is important. So the phase 1 of the roof is completely dry. We haven't had a drop, which is what you would expect. So we keep, our fingers. You go to phase 2. This is an area of phase 2, just so you know. This is a room where it's just it bubbled and water broke through enough to be able to come down and kind of make a little bit of a mess. But we do have, this is the time of year, and we've had an absorbent amount of rain, more than usual. So we definitely have leaks, which is okay. I mean, the roof is, I think, the original. So, that's why we're taking our time to get this done. But I want to show you we still do consistently in the spring have multiple leaks. So it's just going to, hopefully we'll get that taken care of on this summer. We can't go a year without wind damage, just so you know. So that's the BOAG right over here, right behind you, like out towards the tennis courts. So that would have been Friday night. We had the Marlington Invitational Saturday, so that was, you kind of could pull in, and that wasn't open to let air in there. That was kind of blown open, and glass was everywhere all over. So we kind of, our amazing maintenance team came in, AO and Al came in and spent the morning basically tearing that all off, shoring that up, and then obviously we had to go in and clean up all the glass before the students went in there. And that's not any part of the phase of the roofing project. That's either be phase 3 or 4, so we're just going to kind of shore that up to get that taken care of, and then we'll go from there. But a little update on that. Now, what's going on? I've always said, for my number one priority is safety and security of students, and I will never shy away from that. Then follows curriculum. So it's just a reminder of there's a lot of things that happen and I'm just talking about, obviously we're talking about safety. I'll be a little bit more broad on this here in a minute, but we have, we have to do 9 rapid dismissals a year, or fire drills. I put up there 6 if a building has smoke detectors. We don't have smoke detectors and sprinklers, all right? We're grandfathered in, it's okay, we're not, it's just, that's how the law reads. So if you had a building that had smoke detectors and sprinklers, it just drops down the amount you have to do, is all it is. That we hold, some of those held on the first day, tornado drills. These are more prevalent now, and as our administrators know, we try to, at this point in time of the year, we even take it a little more serious, because obviously Ohio has the most tornadoes than any other state right now, which is unusual. It's not usually that we lead the country, but we're leading it in tornadoes. We had, I think, 3 last night that kind of bounced around us. So, we kind of keep that on the forefront of keeping those drills. When we say functional drills, that's when we're talking about our lockdowns that we do with the law enforcement. We do 3 of those a year. We kind of tweak things up at the end this year, and we're going to add to it next year, where we're getting to the point where we usually tell the staff when the lockdown's coming so they can prepare for their students and this, so we'll continue that moving into next year, but at the same time, we're probably after that. We started it at the end of this year. We're not even going to tell the staff or the principals. So we did do that this year at the end, and that was a suggestion from law enforcement, was basically, what do you do when that happens? If somebody just yells lockdown or whatever, in any situation, it doesn't necessarily have to mean, what you initially think of a lockdown. It just could be anything. How does that get notified? How do we use our app? What do the other administrators do? Obviously, we spent a lot of money in the safety grant for cameras. We have cameras all over the place. So we shared this with the fire chiefs when we brought them in. Ultimately, our goal is if there is a lockdown, say at Lexington Elementary, and Mr. Spondile and Mrs. Mort hear the lockdown, they're in separate buildings miles away. They're able to get on their cameras or central offices and be able to see the cameras, and they're able to guide and say, hey, this is what's going on in your building, because necessarily that principal or that person may not be able to know. That's kind of, we're trying to train everybody in that aspect of it. And then obviously we do a theoretical every year. That's by law, we have to. That's usually due in PD days. So that'll vary from a live active shooter to a table talk exercise, you name it, so we kind of do that. And then obviously, in light of this year, as I told you at the beginning of the year, we're going to key in on some more safety features with our bus, with our buses and our bus staff on that aspect of it.
Can you elaborate on that? Because we've had a few more incidences than we have normally.
Yeah. So, obviously we just recently we had a bus accident between a motor vehicle and our bus. It was just a flat tire on our bus, but still an accident. We learned from the original accident, obviously informing the parents of the bus was the most critical aspect, the first thing to be done to let them know their kids are going to be picked up late, and then obviously if there's any students currently on the bus, we notify them. We didn't do that the first time. We didn't even have the access to do it in Parent Square. So that was all built after the fact. So in this particular case, we were able to notify the kids that weren't picked up that bus was going to be, their kids were going to be picked up late. We really didn't go into details just so they were aware, so they weren't waiting. And then obviously, from there we were able to, the kids that were on the bus, we go through the chain of command. So Mr. Spondile, in this particular case, was a Washington Township bus. He was able to, get out there, make phone calls to his secretary, make phone calls to talk to these parents within, 10 minutes after being notified, after I was notified that the accident happened. Still doesn't excuse the fact that you're right, we as a district need to do better. And I did make a commitment to you guys that we'd look at that. So obviously we do evacuations on the bus side of it. That's a normal thing, just for students, and just as much as we do here. Some of the things that I'm thinking about moving forward would be, some of it we're going to send our drivers through what we would call an advanced driver training course, which is a 2-day course that would basically put them through different scenarios to better prepare them for driving. Another thing I think I'm going to do next year is offer a distracted driving training that we're going to do with all those. So basically that's free. So our insurance company, the District represents Liberty, would come to Marlington, and then they would do the training. So I talked to Liberty, and they said they'd absolutely do that. Plus it helps insurance costs. So we're going to look at that. If we don't do the advanced training, we have a gentleman that can come in that will do the same advanced training on our site. So instead of having to send our drivers on, and pay them, which we can, and I will, and I'm very committed to say, hey, if we got to send our drivers to something for 2 days, we probably need to pay them because you know what, they're not going to be here. It's going to be off school time anyways. But if we can't get them all there, we can obviously bring in somebody on site to do the same thing on that. I'm also committed, I think, to we're going to do a monthly bus meeting next year, just to keep up with protocols, safety protocols, laws, and things like that. So that's going to be another addition. It always comes down to that we talk about. We stand up here. Why do you do things? There has to be a why. What's your why? At the end of the day, what's my why? We need to get better. Am I going to tell you we're better? Yes and no. Okay, but we've had accidents and more than I would like to have. And that's what they are. They're accidents. I don't want to feel like there's any. Our drivers are amazing. Okay? As a bus driver myself, as going through the training, I'm going to say it Saturday morning here. I'll tell you why. But they have a very difficult job to do. Accidents do happen. So this is just a year we had some accidents. They happen. But we have great drivers. And to be honest with you, the state is talking about this on a consistent basis, and they're coming down, and I'd rather be a leader in the state in what they're coming out with than to simply wait till the state to say, hey, here are some mandates that we want you to do. We're going to go from there. So those are my thoughts, I guess, in general, where I'm at, that, from the beginning of the year when we had that discussion, but that's kind of where I'm at. More questions about that on that end?
Thank you.
Okay, moving forward. May's a big month, all right? So we got next board meeting, we got a lot to talk about, all right? So we have the folk scholarship that we're going to talk about a little bit. That'll be, we talk about that. We have a meeting actually tomorrow with the committee. A few years ago when I started, I think we had 3 or 4 people apply for the folk scholarship. Last year, I think we had 11, Miss Kaylee?
No.
About that? And this year we have 30-some, I think, this year, that they'll be reviewing tomorrow morning at, 9 a.m. in the board office. So it's a pretty strict criteria, but that's nice. We'll have some conversations about that, a little what entails there. Obviously, we have the 5-year forecast. Told you by law twice a year we got to kind of have that discussion. So I would say at the end of the meeting, if you could remind me, I'd like to set a date for a work session to kind of talk about the 5-year forecast. When we talk with Bob and I and Ryan from Columbus, we can, before we go in. I'd like to get that date kind of set. Obviously, we'll have the recognition of all our staff that's been here 20 years. And then obviously we have retirements. We have a handful of retirements this year. It's just they haven't come all at once, but if as we've gone through, we've had retirements through here. So we got a busy month coming up. So any questions for me?
Just as an FYI, there are some articles coming out, and I know this is going to shock all the teachers, about how detrimental testing is to the kids. And I didn't have a chance to go through it thoroughly enough, but I will forward those to you in case you haven't gotten them. And maybe something positive will come out of it, but you'll be able to teach instead of teaching how to take a test.
All right. Well, I'm going to keep talking. So every year at this point in time, I have to just make sure that I review with you that we do have an annual report for compliance in food and beverage. So that's attached in there. It doesn't change. It's just by law. We got to make sure that we are following Ohio Revised Code 3313, 814, that just governs the types of food, beverages, and things that are sold specifically in our cafeteria or premises on that. So it's just noted that
statement, no one vote, no
No,
anything?
no vote, no nothing, just let them know that we still follow that from a board option.
Public participation, did anyone sign up?
No, no one signed up.
Okay, thank you. Okay, executive session. We're making a motion for the board to adjourn to executive session pursuant to revised code 121.22G for the following purposes: conferences with the board's legal counsel concerning imminent court action and to discuss matters required to be kept confidential by state and federal law.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Ms. Krupko?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Hagan?
Yes.
Ms. Humphries?
Yes.
Mr. Swift?
Yes.
No action will be taken when we come out, and it'll probably be a little lengthy, maybe.
Oh, actually, I think, Karen, there will be action
There will be action.
tonight, the way this is structured, right?
Oh, is it?
These items.
We had all the bills, all the retirements.
No, not action.
Not action from the executive.
From the executive
no action
session. I
related
meant
to
that.
the executive
Sorry.
session.
Sorry if I
No, that's all right.
missed a step there.
I was like, what?
Okay, we're out of executive session at 8:42 PM. Old business.
Okay. This is this is our second reading. I recommend the motion to approve the following resolutions for volume 42, number 2, as listed.
So moved.
Second. Jonathan.
Jonathan can have it.
That was close. I'll give it to Jonathan.
Yeah. Okay, discussion. Was there anybody have any
Who's
comment?
Whose policy? Is that Jonathan?
Jonathan is policy.
You were good with everything in there?
Yeah, we met with Neola. A majority, in fact, if not all of these policy changes are changes related to different House bills that went through. So we're really just changing our language to revise it. I was looking to see if there's anything that wasn't just a revision. But it doesn't look like there's. I think everything was just a revision.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, call the roll, please.
Ms. Krupko?
Yes.
Mr. Swift?
Yes.
Mr. Hagan?
Yes.
Ms. Humphries?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Okay, moving on to new business. We have about 7 items tonight to go through here. Recommend the motion to approve the student handbooks which would be the athletic handbook and the Duke's digital handbook and our DDA handbook for the 2024-2025 school year.
Motion.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any rule that says we have to provide a paper copy if somebody really wants one?
I mean, if somebody wanted a paper copy, we can print it off and give it to
Okay.
them, but I mean, we
But there's
put
nothing
these
that
on our
mandates
website as
it.
soon as they're done. So the athletic handbook is just name, years, and some name changes. Same with the
Okay.
DDA, the student handbook. If you opened up the student handbook, I think on page 64 is the only change, and it was just, they just took a paragraph out because it doesn't belong in there
Okay,
anymore. Other than that, it's identical.
good deal.
Okay, call the roll, please.
Ms. Krupko?
Yes?
Mr. Hagan?
Yes.
Ms. Humphries?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Swift?
Yes.
Okay, number 2 is recommend the motion to approve the following resolution with Cleveland Vicon Company Incorporated for lock equipment as shown.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Okay, so this has been a project I would say I've been asking for since I got on. It's probably been one for years. So I've asked for safety and security. We have probably 300 or 400 keys in this district.
It's been a long time that we've had all those.
And
That was an issue 10 years
so
ago.
Rayo he was trained years ago as our locksmith, so he is actual locksmith and runs the keys in our district. I kind of, about 20 months ago, when I came on board, I said, hey, before you retire, is there a way that you could possibly rekey this entire district? So we have what you would consider like a grand master key. So I would have maybe a key for the whole district, and maybe or 2. But each building would be keyed separately, but teachers would have their own access and so forth, but we just wouldn't have so many keys. And so he's finally got to the point where he mapped it out, then he worked with a company, so Rayo can do all the work for us, so that's the savings, but this is for the parts, for him to get started on this, because Rayo is retiring in 2 years, so his goal is to get this done in the next 2 years. So he's going to start with the high school.
This is outside of the key fobs that they use?
No, this is inside. Once you get inside
No, I mean,
our building.
outside of the
Outside
use
the
of the
scope
key.
of-
Yes. thank you.
Yes, yes.
So like a classroom wouldn't have a key fob, they'd have a lock on the door.
They all have locks, it's just different keys.
Okay.
And it just doesn't make sense to me that we don't, most districts have like the principal would have one key to be able to get them into everything. Right now, Mike carries,
Yeah.
it would.
Like a janitor.
40
Yes.
keys. So if we have an emergency or something else, it's no different. We have safety personnel that needs into certain rooms. They're either going to break the door down because we're just fiddling through keys. So it took Rayo probably last 20 months to come up with a plan, and then how to bring them in as a cost, because most of our doors are Slage handles, so it's nice we use Slage. So he just wants the parts. So this is the breakdown of it. That's for all 5 of our buildings for the entire district, and that's only 4 parts.
And we have a list then, we will have a list then of who has keys to what, so that
Yes.
when they leave, they have.
Yes.
Okay,
So
Okay.
perfect.
Okay, call the roll, please.
Mr. Swift?
Yes.
Ms. Krupko?
Yes.
Mr. Hagan?
Yes.
Ms. Humphries?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Okay, number 3, this is always a good one. Recommend the motion to approve the 2024 graduation class for the fall, or the graduation of the following student list as shown in Exhibit E.
So moved. Oops, second. Pick one.
Got it.
Okay.
We're both good with it.
How many
I think.
students?
There'll be 167.
Okay. Nice. Okay, call the roll, please.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Ms. Krupko?
Yes.
Mr. Hagan?
Yes.
Ms. Humphries?
Yes.
Mr. Swift?
Yes.
Okay, the next one, recommend the motion to approve the school fees for the 2024-2025 school year as seen in Exhibit F.
So moved.
Second.
Any major changes?
No, the school fees are absolutely identical from 2022-23 to 2023-24 to 2024-25.
Nice.
No changes.
Call the roll, please.
Ms. Krupko?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Hagan?
Yes.
Ms. Humphries?
Yes.
Mr. Swift?
Yes.
Next one, recommend the motion to approve the Stark County Health Department contract as shown in Exhibit G. This is for our school nurse.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion.
Highlights, changes?
No changes, the exact same, they did not raise our rates at all, so we are staying exactly the same for the same amount of hours at the same hourly rate as last year. 0 changes.
Okay, call the roll, please.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Hagan?
Yes.
Ms. Humphries?
Yes.
Ms. Krupko?
Yes.
Mr. Swift?
Yes.
2 more. Okay, next, recommend the motion to approve the following as shown in Exhibit I and J. It's the K-5 ELA Core Comprehensive Curriculum Benchmark Education Benchmark Advanced.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just a huge thank you to everybody that worked on this. This was amazing. Tremendous collaboration and
2-year endeavor.
2 years.
excellent work.
Right.
Excellent
Definitely.
work.
Great team. Call the roll, please.
Ms. Krupko?
Yes.
Mr. Swift?
Yes.
Mr. Hagan?
Yes.
Ms. Humphries?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Last one, recommend the motion to approve the following out-of-state field trip as shown in Exhibit K.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
This is just the track being proactive, and if they get the invite to the New Balance Outdoor National Meet in Philadelphia in June, they want to make sure that we had action taken in advance. Obviously, if they don't get the invite, they don't go.
We appreciate that. Okay, call the roll, please.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Ms. Krupko?
Yes.
Mr. Hagan?
Yes.
Ms. Humphries?
Yes.
Mr. Swift?
Yes.
Treasurer's agenda.
Okay. Recommend the motion that the board approve the minutes from the March 21st, 2024 regular meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Swift?
Yes.
Mr. Hagan?
Yes.
Ms. Humphries?
Yes.
Ms. Krupko?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan? I would recommend that the Board of Education approve the financial reports for March 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
Highlights.
Couple quick highlights. We finished March with total fund balance for all funds, $13,068,850.30, of which the general fund contributed a balance of $8,726,096.16. Also of interest, at the end of March, the Permanent Improvement Fund had a balance of about $1.2 million. The Capital Projects Fund, a balance of about $2.3 million.
Okay.
Are there any questions?
Any questions on that?
On the issued checks, I have a couple questions.
Okay.
what is the payment to Mahoning County Educational? Is that their ESC and what?
That is for
reference?
career counseling. They provide a service to us for career counseling.
Okay, and there's 2 payments to Window Genie of Canton.
That is safety film that was put on the doors
Safety
that
grant.
lacked it still. I believe that completed
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
entrances are covered now with that safety.
Okay.
By the safety grant.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
And the last one was the 7-Eleven MasterCard. What is that one's?
7-Eleven?
Yeah, it says 7-Eleven MasterCard.
What's the check number?
Is there 44147, check number 141168? Or no, 141169.
Okay, let me check.
Those are fuel cards.
Fuel cards?
Fuel cards. So our bus drivers have fuel cards, so if they're out and about and they can't use their first choice right down the road and they need it, they have fuel cards available to them to use. And actually, first choice was shut down for a period of time, still is, down there due to a software glitch. So we had to use more of our fuel cards, and then they get that fixed.
Okay.
Okay. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Ms. Krupko?
Yes.
Mr. Hagan?
Yes.
Ms. Humphries?
Yes.
Mr. Swift?
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to recommend that the board approve the revenue and budget revisions as presented.
So moved.
Second?
And highlights.
Okay, a couple quick notes. The most significant in here you'll see in the appropriation revisions, and that involves the Permanent Improvement Fund and the Capital Projects Fund, adding $391,027.93 to the PI Fund, and $579,567.24 to the Capital Projects Fund. It's basically to cover these summer projects. Also, a change with the ESSER grant as well. Where essentially this, by the end of this month, we'll be completely done with the ESSER money. So we're making that transition fully here to add some of those things back to the general fund that we want to keep. And that in the draft we talked to, or we're working towards with the 5-year forecast, that's already been recognized. It'll reflect the absence of ESSER.
Have you made a preliminary thing, Dan, on what's being funded by ESSER that?
Well, we knew what was being funded over the last few years, even with Patty was here. A lot of it was curriculum related, so we started feeding that back, and we know we got to cut back, so we kind of wanted to finish off from a curriculum. We had some staff tied to it that we knew that we had to keep on the books. It was just we could tie the money to it. We were looking for ways to spend money, and then we had some tutors and paras that make that decision. So when we're looking at the preliminary forecast right now, we're kind of running those scenarios of, there's not much left. There's only 600,000 left, and I think that's all we're really spending in there. So we're looking at all the scenarios based on our staffing and basically what's retirement, what's coming back, what can we keep and what we can't keep, if anything. So yeah, all part of that when we have that work session. That if you have any of those questions, then I'll have a better feel once we get into that.
Okay. Thank you.
Great. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Swift?
Yes.
Mr. Hagan?
Yes.
Ms. Humphries?
Yes.
Ms. Krupko?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
I would like to recommend that the board approve the donations as presented.
So moved.
Second.
And I will read them for you here in a moment. Okay, the first donation is from Deborah Nisley to athletics for pay to participate students, $365. From Marcella Monter, athletics again, to pay to participate students for $50. And Donald Prather, Likewise, athletics to pay to participate students $50.
Was this from like an organization since they're all to the same cause, or?
No, we
I
just,
do not know.
it's just random. I mean, that's what they donate, so I don't know if somebody.
They got
might-
together
word
maybe?
You know,
Okay.
I don't know if it was something where, I don't know, I can't answer that, but yeah, it's all athletics and it's all
I
of
think,
that.
I think the Booster Club knows maybe some families need help, so
They got
they
reached
sent
out
an
and then
email.
people-
We could use some
Okay.
help in this area.
That's
Awesome.
great.
I mean, we've always made a commitment that if you can't afford to pay to play, then we will find a way to, you know,
Right.
make that work.
Okay,
Nice.
thank you.
Okay, call the roll, please.
Mr. Swift,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Ms. Humphries,
Yes.
Ms. Krupko,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
Okay, personnel, I'm going to go ahead and consent if you guys are good. I'll just
Yes.
ride through it quickly. We do have, we have administrative resignation on the books. That would be Mr. Miller, just resigning as athletic director and career tech director. His main goal is athletics. We have classified retirements. We have 2 bus drivers retiring tonight, Mr. Wittensolder and Mr. Miller. We have 2 certified staff hires on here tonight. They're both intervention specialists. And those would be Dominic Height and Mr. Steve Miller. We have a classified stub hire. We have our migrant hires for the summer. Now, the migrant hires are pay slips only, so even though we have a list of hire, that does not mean any of those get paid. It's just what's available based on the Title 1C funding. So it's all time-slipped employees.
Are these adding to the intervention specialists that we have, or did we have to?
We have
that
retirements.
resigned?
Those are all retirements. There's no additions.
Okay.
And Steen?
And then our STEAM camp hires.
Well, I'm saying for the certified staff hire of the 2 intervention specialists, those are replacing?
Those are replacements,
That
correct.
resigned?
Yes.
Okay.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
So discussions, to answer your question.
Yeah. Who
Josh.
seconded?
We never got a motion.
Who got a
Aaron,
second?
go ahead. Anybody
I'll
second?
second it. Or whoever.
Okay.
Okay.
Now answer.
No, that, we had a retirement earlier from Lexington. So that would be where Mr. Height's going. And he's brand new, fresh out of college, fantastic hire, very impressed. Did great with the committee. We want to get him in quickly. I want to get him in because I think he's going to get a lot of job offers. He's a good kid. And obviously Mr. Miller with his resignation. He's about 3 years from retirement. He asked if there's something available. It happened to be with Mr. Middleton retirement. Mr. Goulding is moving to the middle school. Mr. Cardinal, the current intervention specialist here, is a social studies teacher for 16 years. He's taking over Mr. Goulding's spot, which
Okay.
opens up the spot for Mr. Miller. So it just kind of worked itself
Moved
out.
around.
So that's what those 2 positions are
All right, thank you.
for. You're welcome.
Okay, call the roll, please.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Ms. Krupko,
Yes.
Ms. Humphries,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan,
Yes.
Mr. Swift.
Yes.
Okay, I did send you guys an update, but this is just followed. I sent you kind of like the remainder of the year, I think about last Friday or the Friday before, of kind of dates. If anything changes on those, I'll keep you updated with senior nights and graduation and prom and banquets and so forth, you know, plus spring sports, plus, you know, if you get out there, it's going to be a busy next 6 weeks here, so, you know, moving forward.
Okay, so we want to set a work session?
Yes, can anybody look at kind of, take a double check at your calendar there and see what May looks like?
May 16th being
booked
the
every
next
night.
board meeting.
Can I just ask, go back to the prom date? I know there are not that, there's a big thing going on now within the Orthodox Church because there are a lot of proms taking place the weekend of our Easter, and this is one. So if we could just be more cognizant of some
Yes.
of that stuff in the future. It's rare that we're this far apart on the dates, the other Easter versus what we have, but it's causing a lot of anguish for Orthodox kids.
So if you could just look at next year,
Oh, absolutely.
Do it a
They've
year-
got
'cause
probably
we do
the
it a
next
year,
5 years
year in
already
advance. If you
published.
could just say, hey, here's some,
I can do
particular
that.
weekends on that, then
Yep.
they
Yeah.
could at least take a look at it.
Avoid
Some of it's
having that.
predicated by the,
I
where
get
they
that.
have it at the Hall of Fame up top, but some of it's not. So if we can at least try, absolutely.
Okay, I will get that for you, not a problem.
That's where we put out.
Okay, so the next board meeting is May 16th. We need to have this before then.
Correct.
Good luck. It's going to have to be the week of the 6th.
What, for you?
Are you looking at like a
All
5
of
o'clock
us.
time,
'Cause
Dan?
Yeah.
6 o'clock?
Academic
5:30.
recognition is the 13th, the spring band concert is the 14th.
What does the 7th look like, Tuesday the 7th?
Could do it the 15th, that's open, but that's the only day open that week.
I could do it the
The
7th.
7th
Can
of
you do it
Tuesday?
the 7th?
7th's a Tuesday. So
Yeah.
we have senior night that night, baseball at 4:30. If you
Put
come,
that on
you-
at 5
We could
a.m.
do it after.
do after
right?
senior night. I mean,
Right.
so maybe we'd probably tentatively say 5 o'clock.
Sure.
5:15.
Maybe 5, all right, but I want to make sure we got to have a concrete time. We can't just
Okay, 5. Say 5.
5.
It does, yeah, they don't take that long.
Okay.
May
Tuesday
7th,
the
5
7th.
p.m.
Yeah, 'cause we could just come in the back door here and then just come down here and have the work session.
This is for finance, right? 5-year forecast?
Yeah.
It's not necessary for the financial rep to be briefed prior, correct?
That's up to you.
So you can't be here that day.
No.
He's just saying.
We usually have
He's
a
the
rep
representative.
The committee rep.
What time we say, 5 p.m.?
Wouldn't be a
5
problem to
p.m.
do that.
Okay.
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 And now, we wanted Ryan to be part of that, or no?
Yes.
At this point? So if anything would come up with his schedule not being compatible, I'll let you know.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, and then the next Board of Education
It's
meeting?
Probably an hour? You think it'd go more than an hour?
I don't think so. I mean, it just depends on what questions you have.
Guess it could go.
You know, I mean, I guess it could, but I mean, preliminarily, we have talked to Ryan. You know, we're not seeing anything out of
Nobody's changed.
anything out of the ordinary. I mean, we kind of told him where the ESSER is. Obviously, he can anticipate property tax values that he knows that's coming from his end. Nexus, we can give you a brief update on that, but it's stalled nowhere. I mean, so that's, kind of in limbo on that end of it.
There's not $30 million in Lexus money sitting out there that's not being paid up.
Not yet. And so there's kind of he has pretty much what he needs, and Bob was able to close the books early enough to get him the information he needs, so we should be able to,
Yeah, I think it's
do that.
close. It'll just take a couple small tweaks to get it completed. I already have one of the numbers he needed me to refine slightly, double check.
The hardest
Shouldn't take too
anticipation is looking at our retirement list or resignation list. So let's just say, you get back to August, and I've tracked this pretty fine-tunedly, is looking at that, then your anticipation of what you replace, but because when you haven't interviewed yet, what step they would be on. So you're taking like a missing target, it's a moving target, but we'll try to get that, fine-tuned by the May. We should be pretty close.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And then the next Board of Education meeting is here in DLZ, May 16th at 6 p.m. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Swift?
Yes.
Mr. Hagan?
Yes.
Ms. Humphries?
Yes.
Ms. Krupko?
Yes.
Thank you and good night.